Welcome to another episode of the CANiVISION Midwest podcast. I'm your host, Chris Jackson. As you see, my co-host Tatiana is here doing all type of cool shit right now with the city of Detroit and the Legacy program. She'll be back soon. She sends her love. But here with a super special guest, man. Our first guest from Missouri, the Show Me State. What's Brennan? What's happening, man? Brennan, England, man. How you doing?
Happy and high, man. I'm happy and high. How you?
Happy and high. I like that. Brennan is the owner of the the Koala Private Club, correct?
The Cola
Private Club, right? And then also the St. Louis Cannabis Club, correct?
Yes.
All right, very cool, man. Well, thank you for being on. Not only are you our first guest from St. Louis or from Missouri, but you're also the first guest that's owned consumption lounges, which obviously say what?
But I'm sitting there right now.
Yeah, nice. I love it. Which in most states where it's newer or a newer concept, what's happened is the pandemic slowed it all the way down, right? But you were operating, previous to, had some time to kind of build your brand and some of the other things that you're doing. So I want to get into all of that. Couple things I want to say. I want to mention, shout out to New York, adult use, recreational, whatever you want to call it, was just approved. The time that we're recording this yesterday, and I think the governor signed today. So shout out to New York for that. Seems like that they're going to do the right thing by way of equity. For folks who have been legacy and time will tell, but seems promising, at least for now. And then I want to shout out another organization, advocacy group that's been doing some really cool things across the nation, M4MM, Minorities for Medical Marijuana. If you don't know about them, you should definitely look them up. We had Simone on one of the earlier episodes. She's the state chapter president in Michigan. And I happen to know that Brennan is also involved with M4MM. You want to talk a little bit more about what M4MM does, and then also what your role is with that.
Yeah, definitely. So M4MM, or Minorities for Medical Marijuana, stands for making a difference and making an impact in how minorities are integrated into the fold of the professional cannabis community as it grows. That means that we are being involved in every realm of the business, whether it be from the seed to sale corporate enterprise, or whether it be in the ancillary services, and also looking at the politics, looking at the lobbying, looking at getting our educators and getting our politicians involved and on board to connect and see how their communities can be impacted by cannabis culture, specifically how minority communities can be impacted by cannabis culture in a positive way. So this doesn't just mean medical marijuana, but it also means focusing on industrial hemp, and that we are finding our way into that enterprise as well. Minorities for Medical Marijuana has been active since 2016. They have representatives in over, at this point, 30 plus different states and in different countries at this point. And the initiative is really clear, and it sprawls across every sector of the business, and they've been really successful in doing that thus far. And I'm really excited to be involved with them.
Shout out to Roz McCarthy, who is the founder of M4MM. Did Canna Talks one-on-one with Roz on a couple of occasions, and she's one of those people out there doing the work. Shout out to Kit Grimes, your new COO. M4MM. We've done some projects, working on some things together. I think you got an exclusive drop for me today. So, what are you doing with M4MM, man? Tell me. Tell us. Tell everybody.
I am humbled and enthusiastic to announce that I am now the state president for the Missouri chapter of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, and I plan to hold that to a very high esteem.
Nice. I don't have a soundboard. Otherwise, you're right. I did the claps and all that. You know what I mean? Now, congratulations to you, man. And you and I have had an opportunity to interact on a couple of occasions now, and I know you'll do what's necessary in order for cannabis to be equitable, right? And your small piece of the pie, but a lot of us doing what we're supposed to do, I think goes a long way for everybody. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and I'm really, I'm really excited about it. This is actually an exclusive release. It hasn't not even been officially announced, even though I've started crossing the burning sands, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so M4MM is the largest minority advocacy organization for cannabis in the country and in other countries at this point. And it's really important that we find very acute and intention ways to find our voice and our space in this movement and in this industry. It's like I'm really passionate about the fact not only have I've been jailed in the most dangerous, like the most deadly jails in the St. Louis area just for possession of cannabis and targeted because I'm a man of color. So I've experienced that myself personally. And I think that because we as minorities have been at the negative receiving end of these stereotypes for so long in history, that we should be the first in line to be at the positive receiving end of everything that's coming out of this industry. And it's just like the one thing that we also have to look out for is that in an era of minority inclusion and things like equal opportunity, a lot of times people of color are looked at as resources and not as assets. And people pull us in for reasons that are opportunistic and short term that leave us without real equity, without real long term value. And so I think it's really important, and it's something that I will continue to make one of my focuses is defining the difference between asset and resource based relationships in the cannabis community, so that we can all discern not only how to be treated appropriately, but also how to build the right type of teams that last and treat people the way they need to be treated.
And to your point, I think to take that a step further, how much do we allow that to happen? Right? So we can only, in my mind, you can only blame another group or groups for so long, right, for the things that we allow to happen. But at the same time, there's a conversation of basically, whether or not we were educated in a way to understand that we were being taken care of, advantage of, and not necessarily being taken care of as a partner or an asset versus a resource. So speaking of carving out your space, right, in the industry, tell us about your lounge and or lounges, your club. What's the theme? Tell us a little more about that, because you've had the opportunity pre-pandemic to even exist, right? And get the wind underneath you a little bit, right? And then the pandemic happened. I'm sure it didn't impact you positively. However, it's one thing to be operating. It's another thing to be on the cusp of something like in Michigan and then have it completely shut down. So tell us a little more about what you got going on with your lounge and your club.
Yeah, man. So the lounge, my first lounge is called the Cola, where buds meet, and it is a social community gathering space and event space for the existing cannabis culture, as it finds opportunities to intersect and meet the oncoming cannabis industry. The cannabis culture has existed way before the industry. We have ethics, we have code, we have inside jokes, we have vocabulary. We have rituals. There's all this stuff that we already have, and we honor that with our space, right? This is not a cannabis sales space. This is a spot for the cannabis culture to flex, to breathe, to put their feet up, and to feel at home. And I guess the best way for me to do that is I'll give you a little tour right quick.
Okay.
So we're down here on Cherokee Street in South City, St. Louis. Cherokee Street is kind of like if Mission Street and Haight-Ashbury had a baby. A mix between like the outcasts, the quirks, the adventurers of the city, along with the Latino district, Mexico Vive Aquí. They own over a block and a half full of panaderias and supermercados, all authentic businesses down here on the street. So this is our beat. Love Bank Park, our youth community center is right here, just one business over from me. And this is the entry to the Cola. We also have a downstairs venue that we use when we have larger scale events. But our venue itself is pretty humble and pretty comfy. When you come up the steps, you're greeted by our family portrait wall, of a lot of our family greats like Willie, Bob, Rihanna, Snoop, Wiz, Brownie Mary, Jack Harrer.
Hey.
We've got more on the wall. Who do you think should be next on the family portrait wall?
Oh, who should be next on the family portrait wall? Snoop. Where's Snoop at? He on there?
He's up there. Oh, I didn't even say it. Snoop is actually in the club a couple times. We got family pictures.
Okay.
Snoop, Wiz, you know what I mean? Who else? Let me talk about some less. Even Mike Tyson, with the stuff that he's doing right now. Put Mike up there.
Yeah, so that's, you come up the steps and then you open up to the lounge. I should have the lights on up here, but this is the lounge right here. So the front room, this is our kickback room. This is where you can video game. We got all the gaming systems. We got some flat screens up. You can watch some TV. This is also our co-working space. So all these tables separate out. You can move them apart from each other. You can stream and cast up to the TVs. You can watch a TV show, or you can project your latest numbers, show people your latest grow. You got lighter leashes under all the tables. Now always at an arm's length. You can shop different brands through the club as well. In the middle room, this is our lounge and kickback room. We've got longer term seating. That chair right there is notorious for weed naps. We got the bud bar over here. This is everything on this side is for flour. Everything on this side is for extracts. Our bud bar attendants, we call this the gas station, where our gas station attendants pump your gas for you. So as much as this is a spot for people to come up and use the bong or use the dab rig or something, this is an educational space. So if you've never taken a dab hit, or if you've never rolled a joint or something like that, our bud bar attendants will teach you that type of stuff. They'll show you how to have safe and enjoyable first-time experiences, or maybe reclaim you from having a bad experience. You know, we keep all of your goodies down here in our baby bodega for all of your rolling needs. And then back here in the back room, I'm turning on the lights as we go. This is our billiards room. More TVs. We've got dope ass art all over the place. Shout out, this one right here is a Damon Davis piece. Shout out to Damon Davis. This right here, it's a right-hand robot collaboration in our bathrooms. Off the chain. Like silly shit. Silly.
That's dope.
Last thing that we got is this is the members kitchen and pantry. It's also where we're storing our seltzer. We'll talk about that a little later. But this is the Cola members kitchen and pantry. So we've got a magic butter machine. We got the espresso machine. We got a kitchen. We've got everything, so you can take stuff from bud to butter to brownie, all through the magic butter machine while you're sitting here chilling. We keep CBD shake and stuff up here for people, just so that we can show them demos on how to use stuff with their own product, samples and stuff that stay up here. But it's, you know, that's our kitchen. And then we also got a back patio. Our rule is green smoke inside, gray smoke out. So this is a spot to come outside and just get some fresh air. That's Love Bank Park, our community park right over there. Good ball game going on. But yeah, so that's the spot, man. We've got a downstairs too that we use for other events, but for larger events. But this is our everyday community space, and so we're using this as basically a flagship to prove this as an opportunity to bring safe and enjoyable social consumption to the St. Louis region. You know, it's like we want people to know that the social element of consumption is really the most important piece of the cannabis community. It's how we heal. It's how we vibe. It's the connection we have that we make with this plant, through this plant, with other people. And we know, so we're working not only on creating spaces, but also creating and bolstering policy that helps spaces like this thrive and be protected in the fully legal market.
No doubt. Look, first of all, I appreciate the tour. We're actually in the process of opening the consumption lounge ourselves. Stay tuned for that. First one should be in Ypsilanti. But we're opening up. I appreciate it. We're opening up a consumption lounge ourselves. In each state has its own quirks, regulations. You know what I mean? And in order to have a kitchen and serve food and or alcohol, you know, municipalities have a lot of control over what they allow and what they don't allow in the state of Michigan, and so it has to be partitioned off. So just understanding how to still build that sense of community and come up with the themes that call for a sense of community. And what's dope about what you're doing in your space that you just showed us is that not only you're normalizing everyday things into a consumption lounge, right? You're saying if you're a professional, this is a space for you. If you just want to hang out with your friends, it's a space for you. If you're a gamer, this is a space for you. If you're of the community with the park next door, this is a space for you. And I respect that and I appreciate that about, and it says a lot about your character and your commitment, right, to the industry in that way. I want to quickly touch on, you showed us the park, and you even mentioned it, Love Bank Park, right? Behind scenes, you and I were having a little conversation about what Love Bank Park means, right, to you, and what it means to the community at large. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the initiatives with that.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, so Love Bank Park is the remnant, the remnant. It's the survivor of what used to be a string of safe spaces for children on our street. What I mean as a survivor is that it's the survivor of gentrification. Every other space on our street that was provided to be a safe space for the children that has been rebudgeted or has been reestablished for something else that was much more profitable and equitable for the landowner than the business that was heartfelt and community centered there before. So Love Bank Park is on our street, the only spot where the kids have to really kind of cut loose and chill. It's the only spot that they don't get really in trouble just for hanging out. And so it's a community asset for that reason, is that the children have an opportunity, not just the children, but families in general, just the community, that it's a spot where we have to come and commune. We have we do different fundraisers in the park. We do our Juneteenth celebration was in the park. We do different farmers markets in the park. So, Love Bank is centralized, has become kind of a focal point. Even its name was an affirmation investment, because as much as there's good that happens in Love Bank, also a lot of pain comes out of that space too, because being that only space of vulnerability for the kids, it also becomes a pressure cooker of problems. And so there's a lot of conflict that arises there. And it doesn't mean that it is a problem for the community. It just means that it's actually a space where problems present itself and where we have opportunity to come up with solutions. And so Love Bank is an affirmation for what we as a community are putting into this space, right? And so it is the Love Bank of the community. And so we've had different waves. Every community member has almost a different story in this saga of drama that's happened in this park. And I just, back on Friday the 13th of last year, had to triage a 15-year-old boy holding compressions to his body, who had been shot in the face and the torso. I apologize. I should have given a trigger warning for this. For anyone that is sensitive about this type of content, I'm talking about a shooting. I apologize. He was shot in his face and his torso, in his abdomen, and he was 15 years old. He was caught in a situation that had absolutely nothing to do with him. And it was right here at the corner of Love Bank Park. And it was the offspill of a bunch of teen angst and drama and just misplaced feelings, when you look at the source of what's happening. And so the boy, to save the drama, the boy lived. We don't know. I'm not sure exactly of his state now, but the boy is just one. He's one of the stories in this saga of tragedies in this park, right? And so the park, the community knows that we need to do something about it. We've just recently started a youth board. I'm actually on the board for this. I'm on the Community Improvement District board, but I'm on the sub board for the park. And the board that we have for that, we're creating a board within that board that's completely devised of youth from or made of youth from the community. Nice. So we reached out and we were like, we need a youth advisory board to start to tell us what you feel, not only about the park, but about the community, the things that you think are working, the things that you think aren't working, and what do you think that we can put into this space that's going to make this space an asset to the community and an asset to you. Like, we don't want to just put new buildings and structures here, but we want you to feel like this is something that's actually changing your life in this neighborhood, And so that's the stage we're in. We're actually recruiting those youth right now. The emails are going out. We're taking acceptances for that. And so I've reached out to leaders in the community, not only in the business community that's been existing, but also into some of the cannabis businesses that are coming in, including Viola Cannabis. There's no official press release for this yet. We're completely talking.
Another exclusive. My goodness.
Another exclusive. And I can tell you, like, as much as there's no press on it right now, that Viola is an entity. As soon as they saw Love Bank, they already were just like, let us on it. Like, what can we do to help? You know, and Viola, for anybody that's listening that doesn't know, Viola is one of the only standing, fully vertically or Black-owned, multi-state operating cannabis corporations in the country.
Yeah, shout out to Al Harrington and the boys over there.
Yes, yes. Al Harrington, Larry Hughes, they're killing it. Their nephew, Abe Givens, he's actually from St. Louis. He's from our neighborhood, and he has family from our neighborhood. And so, you know, he's actually, Viola's just a couple blocks down from the Cola right here where we stand. Right. But yeah, so the Love Bank Park is an asset to the community. It's being invested in not only by my entity and by the community, but also by the cannabis industry as it's coming in. And it really, to me, kind of speaks to what the cannabis plant does in its spirit, and what it's calling to do is in this part of our era, especially even for people of color, that we have an opportunity to reclaim this plant and what it can do for us and how it can actually positively help and heal our communities.
And you know, another thing just to piggyback on what you just said is not only the things that you mentioned, but there's also a sense of, you know, people doing what's right, and you're seeing the character of the people who are, some of the people at least, right, who are behind the cannabis industry. Because in every industry you have people who, you know, care about community, you have people who don't, right, and that exists all over the place. But up until recently, the only stories that we've heard about people related to and or who were engaged in cannabis in any way were all negative connotations or perceptions. You know what I mean? And so these stories need to be told, and they are being told, thankfully. But the more we normalize the conversation that there are people of exceptional character in the industry that actually cares, I'll keep it PG today, that actually cares about the community in which they operate in and or exist in, the better off we'll all be, right? But with that comes opportunity to make some money, right? You know, money may not be the important thing, but it's certainly a byproduct if you're doing things the right way in this industry, right? And so you just launched not that long ago, right? Your seltzer is what you call it, but your own beverage company. Why don't you tell us a little more about that?
One of the things that's great about being part of a collective and creating a cannabis resource network is that I've continued to pool and connect with a lot of other creatives in the industry that are doing good things. Some of them have been longstanding friends that are just finding their lane. You know, one of them is the owner of Mighty Kind Cannabis, who is a cutting edge cannabis beverage infusion company that runs the technology behind my beverage. I was reached out by them with an opportunity to create an exclusive brand an exclusive product for my brand. And we decided to use it as an opportunity to do outreach into the community and start to normalize and help educate people on safe and enjoyable cannabis consumption. And that this is something that you can have in your hand and in part of your life, and how this can take the place of soda. It can take the place of alcoholic beverages and things that we wouldn't have even thought of, that cannabis could be coming in, not even by smoking it, not even from feeling high from it, but how cannabis culturally can be started to be perceived as a holistic health product, right? Mm-hmm. So the first one that we put out is the St. Louis Cannabis Club. It's Peach Mango Seltzer. I think that might be backwards, but it's St. Louis Cannabis Club Peach Mango Seltzer. It is made with reverse osmosis water, so it's really clean. It's made with all organic flavoring, organic hemp extract, and the biggest thing about the hemp extract is that it's full spectrum nano isolate. For anybody that doesn't know, you can all all CBD products, consumables are not created equal. You know, some things are isolates, some things are distillates. I'm not going to get into the deep science of it. The thing that I'll tell you is that if it's extracted into a sugar or a glycerin, or it's isolated to just be CBD, there are parts of that metabolic breakdown that happen in the guts. They happen in the organs. And you have to wait for it to go through that entire chain before you can even feel the effects from the medicine, if you feel them at all. Because up to a third of that, 2/3 of that can even be lost depending on how you break it down in your body. Water solubility means in nano isolated or nano solubility means that it's broken down into nanoparticles that are absorbing into your body the entire journey through. So you are feeling it almost directly after ingesting it. So one of the things that we talk about is that our drink has a revitalizing rapid onset, because as you're drinking it, it actually gives you a sensation of relaxing, gives you a sense of ease and digestion in the stomach. And regardless, or depending on what you're taking CBD for, those are the things that you're going to start to feel the relief from. And I can say that as a blanket term, because whenever you get to the core of what CBD does as a medicine, it reduces swelling, it reduces inflammation. And we discredit how much that inflammation is the key source of illness in multiple parts of the body, whether it be headaches, brain fog, intestinal issues, sinuses, knee aches and arthritis, itis in any part of the body. Itis just means swelling. And so when you take the swelling out of the body starts to self-heal. And that's why this medicine isn't just it's not treating the symptoms. You're allowing the body to start to treat the cause, because you're moving things out of the way so that the body can self-heal.
Dope. Yeah, you didn't tell me all of that. That's cool, man. That's
you can't put that on a can. I can only say that whenever I've got people. When I've got you, I'm going to tell you.
No doubt. Yo, congratulations on the success, man. What's the distribution model? Are you just starting in Missouri? Have you branched off into other states yet? Where you at with that? How soon can we see that in Michigan?
Yeah, I've had a lot of inquiry from Michigan, not only for my own brand, but I'm also offering it for white label for folks that want to start boosting their own brand with our technology. It's an opportunity that we want to put out there so that people can have access. If anybody's interested in distribution outside of St. Louis, hit me up immediately. We've got ways to make it happen now. Now, I haven't set it up I don't have a distribution deal set so you can find it in your grocery stores yet. But if you're wanting to set up a wholesale account, it's something that we can set up really quick. Michigan isn't that far. I can't believe we're a different time zone.
No, talk your talk, my G. I'm happy to hear that. No, congratulations. So, one of the things that, as we wrap up that I really want to explore is, it's cool. And I think it's probably wrapped up in a lot of what you already had to say. But it's cool to understand the mind and the reason behind why people do what they do ultimately. You know what I mean? And so for you, what would you say is the legacy that you ultimately want to leave when the story is told generations from now?
Is that they didn't Colt 45 my ass.
Okay.
that I had my authentic hand on the pulse of the authentic cannabis culture, and that my brand was able to be a communicator between tribes, so that as the Jim Beams and as the Red Bulls come into the industry, that all of my local brothers and sisters have a space just as they do, and that my project has been a place to be an intersection for that. Because the cola, it is, I didn't talk about this, about the cola, what the cola is. The cola is the flowering side of the female cannabis plant. The cola is the top bud. The cola is literally where buds meet. It's where buds come to bloom, right? And the cola is also synonymous with the top tier, the peak of cannabis experiences, because the cola bud, like, if you're buying a dime sack, bro, ain't nobody gonna pull off their cola bud for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the cola bud is also kind of a status symbol in that way.
Right.
But what we're looking to do is we're looking to create the cola quality of cannabis experiences in our culture. And that means that we vet it for authenticity, for efficiency, for safety, and for fucking cool. Because the biggest thing about cannabis culture is that we have pre-existed. We've been here. We've been doing our thing. And the only thing that we need is that we need an opportunity in an authentic industry that knows that they need us. That this isn't like Wrigley gum. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a Mentos commercial. Because of our inside jokes, because of our code, because of our vernacular and our vocabulary, they can't just buy us, you know? And so my brand will continue to have existed is that vein of authenticity that for those that know it, we're just giving them the place. For those that don't, and they're trying to find it, we're giving them the light, you know? And that middle ground is, I think, what people are intimidated by because, you know, there's this concern about the corporate industry coming in when federal regulations lift and everybody getting bought out and no one having, you know, and the integrity of the plant being bastardized, you know? I think the plant is way more divinely intelligent than that. The plant is smart enough that it's taken us this far and taken itself, like it's taken over the world, you know? Sure. So I have faith that there's going to be room for the Red Bulls and the Jim Beams, and there's also going to be the room for all of the moms and pops too, you know? And so the cola will be the space for that.
Well, look, bro, I think the industry is fortunate to have someone like you. Not only the industry, but the people associated, right, with the industry are fortunate to have someone like you with your intellect, with the ability to communicate so that everybody understands, which is important, but also just to show that you care. Not everybody's that vulnerable, and we certainly appreciate not only you, but the exclusives that you gave us today on 2 or 3 different fronts, man. And we'll have to have you on again to talk more about the expansion of your drink, of your beverage, your seltzer, right, when it comes time. So appreciate you being here, and per usual, appreciate all of you being here with us. Our goal is to add value, talk about things that aren't being talked about, the good, the bad, the ugly of it all. But it all comes together in a beautiful way around the cannabis plant. Thank you for every like, every share, every view, and we can't do it without you all. So until we see you next time, have a good one.